Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 1 of Pop Talks. My name is Toast. I'm joined today, our first interviewee ever on the show, our first show ever, by the way, by the one and only Double Dime. Double Dime, how you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing well. How you doing, Toast?
Doing all right. I'm really excited to be doing this. I'll be real. I'm a little nervous, but I think this is only going to be a good thing.
No, this is cool. Yeah, this is really cool. I hope I can shed a little insight on some stuff here, and we're gonna have a good show.
Yeah, that's the plan. So welcome to the show. For those of you who are new, who haven't been seeing me tweet a storm about this on Twitter, Pop Talks. That's a pun, by the way. Bonus points if you figure out what the pun is. Pop Talks is a show where I'm going to be bringing on people from our community, from the Brawlhalla community. I'm talking about pro players, developers, community figures, pretty much the people who you see at events, the people you see streaming, et cetera, because that's super cool. And, you know, this community is surprisingly large. Well, maybe not surprisingly large, but very large, right? And there's a lot of cool people in here who do all sorts of crazy stuff. So why don't we get to know them a little better? Like I said, we got Double Dime right here. You can see him over there. He's been dubbed the most handsome man in Brawlhalla by quite a few people. And we'll start with that. Double Dime, how do you feel about that? You know, you've been dubbed. You're maybe one of the older players in the community, but what are your thoughts?
Uh, at least I'm winning something when I go to these tournaments. Um, it's pretty flattering. I know at Shine, our good friend, your good friend of mine, Sparky, hit on me a lot. It was a little bit awkward, but it was funny, and and yeah, that's one of those things I don't like to talk about too much. But like I said, at least when I go to a tournament, I'm winning something.
Yeah, that's a good way to have. It's a good attitude right there, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll hit it right away. So obviously you are a pro player, Brawlhalla scene,
Mhm.
soon to be caster, kind of made your casting debut. But before we get to any of that, I kind of want to ask, how long have you been playing Brawlhalla?
I'm one of the newer players, or one of the newer top players, I suppose, in Brawlhalla. I actually jumped into the game, I want to say early January. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was after it was after winter championships. I missed winter championships. Um, and the reason I got into it was I built this new computer, and I wanted to see how the computer would handle streaming. So I ended up I've had Brawlhalla downloaded on my computer for a long time. I actually did play it like a long time ago, like when it first came out. Thought it was fun. Never continued with it. And then I jumped back in to see how my computer would handle it, and one thing led to another. And 10 hours in, I was at 1950 elo. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I should continue playing. Just season 3 just reset, so really it was me going into season 4 with a whole clean brand new season, and one thing led to another, and I just kept playing this.
That's fantastic. For a moment there, I thought you said, I built my whole new shiny computer and I wanted to try it out. And I was gonna make fun of you for, like Brawlhalla runs on a potato. Like
Yeah,
this stream boxes, they're this big. No,
I
that's
know.
really cool. So you made nearly diamond in the first 10 hours.
Yeah, I mean, um, I grew up with Smash. That was one of those things I grew up like. I was 6 when so it came out, and yeah, I was 5 or 6 when the original Smash came out, and I cried until my parents got it for me. And then of course Melee came out 5 years later. I was really into that. Uh, I was never a quote unquote pro, I suppose, but I was always the best out of all my friends. I'd go over and they'd play 3v1 against me, and I'd kick their asses, all three of them. It was it's I don't know. I guess it translated over to Brawlhalla, even though they're not that similar. But I guess the timing, the pace, when to go in, when to come out, kind of translated over. So yeah, it seemed to.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of
Yeah.
similar genre of game, right? It's
Well,
basically
yeah.
they're fighting games, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really cool, and that actually leads well into the next question. I wanted to talk about, what do you do outside of Brawlhalla, right? So you found Brawlhalla in January.
Yeah.
You thought you had something, you found something. Obviously, you did because you're still here, right? And you're going to BCX and all of this good stuff.
Yeah.
So then I guess what is outside of Brawlhalla then? You talked about Melee.
Games that are outside of Brawlhalla, or just my life in general? Oh, games.
Let's
outside
start
of
with
Brawlhalla.
games, and we'll move on to your life.
I've been well, when I built this computer, it was originally to stream Heroes of the Storm, which I was really, really big into. I was really high platinum, low diamond most of the time, and I was trying to push that.
Okay.
So I built the computer to see if I could stream it, to want to stream it, and interact and teach people how to play that. And Brawlhalla was just like the test game, and I realized I was better at that. But anyways, Here's the Storm is one that I like to play a lot. I've been playing a lot of there's a new card game from the makers of Smite called Hand of the Gods Tactics,
Okay.
which is based on Smite. So it's take Hearthstone but add a board as well. So it's a board game plus a card game. So I've been playing a lot of that.
All right.
And then as everybody knows, I won a PS4 at Shine, so I've been playing a few PS4 exclusive titles. I've been marching through the Uncharted that I got, and actually, The Last Guardian is the one I've been playing a lot of right now too.
Have you been enjoying The Last Guardian? I
Well,
heard a lot of mixed reviews about it, where people were like, it's beautiful, but it doesn't run well, and
It doesn't run well. It runs at 30-ish frames a second. but the game itself is amazing, and it's the spiritual successor to my favorite game of all time, which is Shadow of the Colossus, which is coming out in getting a re-release from the ground up rebuild February 6th. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Is that coming to PC? Do you know?
Never. It's a PS4 exclusive.
Of course not.
Japan Studios is Sony exclusive. So.
All right, that's a bummer.
Yeah, those are the two I've been playing, and Hand of the Gods, which has been really good too.
Cool. So in your time playing Heroes of the Storm, did you have any eSports aspirations? Anything outside of Brawlhalla? Did eSports like?
Yeah, Heroes of the Storm was the one that I'm like, okay, I'm in platinum. I hadn't played that for very long either, and I'm like, okay, I'm in platinum. I'm like maybe 50 hours into the game and sitting at platinum, and I'm touching diamond. I just got to win that damn promotion match to get to diamond, which we all know, if you've ever played a MOBA, is the toughest match to win. But before that, every esports, like when I was a teenager, every esports kid's dream as a teenager was to try to make it in League of Legends, and I sunk a immeasurable amount of hours into League of Legends. Never passed Gold 3. Put probably actually, I know for a fact I emailed Riot to ask how much money I put into my account. Put $1,500 into my account.
What?
And yeah, well, $20 here, you don't notice it, right? $20 for Riot points. $20 there for Riot points. You just don't notice it. And then after 3 years, it's like, oh man, I've put $1,550 into this game on skins which do nothing, and have literally nothing to show for it other than the fact that I've got a gold border a few seasons. So for a bit there after League, I thought my esports aspirations were going to end. I'm getting older, and MOBAs are a young man's sport. So they are. I mean, the youngest players, you're... Go on.
I was going to say, as if you're that old. I mean, we're old, right? For this community, but not that old.
MOBA players peak at about 20.
Okay.
Like between 16 and 20 is their years. A few exceptions, Elimination's older and stuff like that, but for the most part, that's when your reactions are the best. Mm-hmm. And I knew I pretty much knew that my MOBA aspirations were done until I found Heroes of the Storm, because it's more of a team-based game, and then I was like, oh, maybe not, and then fell into Brawlhalla.
Cool. I want to touch on something you mentioned there about kind of just putting in a lot of money into Heroes, right?
No, League.
Into League,
not a lot
rather.
In Heroes. I think I only put like $50 or $60 into Heroes.
So then now here you are in Brawlhalla, right? Another free-to-play game which has that sweet, cosmetic model.
Yeah.
How's that been for you?
I haven't sunk nearly as much money into it. And that's not because I don't want to. It's just there isn't as much content to purchase yet. Because if they start releasing more stuff, I'm sure my bank account will get hurt, and BMG will love every minute of it. But yeah, no, but I have skins, especially on my top 5 or 6 that I play.
So that's a good segue. Who are those top 5 or 6 that you play?
Well, everybody remembers me when I first started playing as the Roland D-Sig legend. So my Roland is level 66. But this season I've been riding a lot of Rax. So Vrax and Roland. Ragnar was actually my second legend that I took to Diamond. And I took Ragnar to Diamond to prove to everybody that I didn't just have Roland's D-Sig. I took 2 completely different weapons from Roland and took them to Diamond. Actually took them to 2300 Elo in my first season. And then Nye is my big 2s pick. I really like Jala. And I've been playing a lot of Azoth this season as well, which is going to be a bit of a pocket pick going into BCX, which I've now just blown. And
you've announced it.
I've got it.
Everyone will know, Double Damn going to break it, that sweet, sweet Azoth. Well, that's good news. Because we don't see a lot of Azoth out there, honestly.
He's really good right now. Axe is really good, and bow is probably, if not the top weapon, 2 or 3. So I mean, some people don't like how neutral his stats are because they're very in the middle, all of his stats. But I do like that, and I know I don't have to overcompensate or undercompensate for any of the stats. So
Right. And that's I
mhm.
mean, on a personal note, I love seeing Azoth come back. I played for a while and then I took a break, and I think when I came back, or when I took my break, was around the time Azoth came out, and my twos
Mhm.
buddy back then, before I was I was like, Brawlhalla, it's fun, whatever. He was an Azoth dude.
Mhm.
And timing's good. It's well, no longer Halloween, but it was Halloween.
Yeah, yeah.
Bring back the skeleton and all that good
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, those are those. Yeah. So if we're gonna recap, it's Roland, Vrax, Jala, Nye, Ragnar, and Azoth are my big picks.
Are you more of a Lance guy? Because right, Roland has Lance, and then your second, you said
Vrax.
Brax. They both have Lance. If those are top two, I mean, that's what they have in common, right?
I really like. I've always been like a Lance main. Um, the nice and I've continued to stay a Lance main after the gutting that it took on its S light. Well, the thing is it's not a bad weapon. It's not. It was an overpowerful. It was overbearing to play against when S light was what it was.
Mhm.
Um, but now that it's not what it is, the thinking man Lance player is still really is still really difficult to deal with. Anybody who knows how to play a lance knows that it's still overbearing with or without S light. That being said, most of those legends all have axes. Jala, Azoth, Ragnar, they all have axes. So um, if I had to pick my top two weapons, they'd be lance and axe. That being said, I don't play Ulgrim. I don't like Ulgrim.
What about Orion, right? Because you play
I
Nye and
do like
twos. You got that spear for the Nye, so you know how to play spear, and you like Lance, so it seems like
actually
Orion would be a good fit.
Actually, Orion was my last season pick, and Orion
Okay.
this season is still at about 2,300 elo. Uh, so yeah, I could throw Orion in there. I do like Spear. The thing I like about Spear right now is that it's not overpowered like it was early season 5, late season 4, but it's still a really, really good counter pick. And that's a good thing for weapons. Not every weapon needs to be a meta weapon.
It's true.
Like, you don't want every weapon to be a meta weapon. You want good weapons, and then you want counter pick weapons. And I like Spear because right now your meta, you're seeing a lot of guns, you're seeing a lot of bow. You can space, you can hang with those guys and space them, and you can space out Katars, which are really good right now. I think the only matchup that I dislike Spear into is Axe. That's just me. Axe
So
just yeah.
okay, so you got all these pickets. You got 5, 6 legends you're comfortable with. You like playing.
Yep.
What then? You have these players out there who have these level 100 legends and only exclusively play that legend. No matter what happens in the meta, they're like, I'm gonna stick with my Hattori. I'm gonna stick with my level 100, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think they have a disadvantage then?
I don't think they have a disadvantage, because you now know how to play into every single one of those matchups, I
Right.
suppose. I think you're going to have matchups where you're not going to do as well, especially if you run into somebody like a Remy or a Dobrain who can play every weapon at a high level. You're gonna if you run into him and he knows that your two weapons are bad against Hammer, for example, he's gonna pick Bodvar, which is Remy's main anyways, but he's gonna pick Bodvar and gonna smack you around with the hammer, and their proficiency with that weapon might be better than your proficiency with your level 100 main. I came close. My Roland before I stopped was level 70 before I stopped like
Nice.
hardcoring onto Roland.
Nice.
So I almost was one of those level 100s. Of course, I stopped, but yeah, I don't think it's tough. I don't. Maybe they do. Maybe they do have a bit of a disadvantage because if I'm running into somebody with Roland who has an axe, Lance doesn't do particularly well, and Sword's only about a 50-50 with axe. I can swap over to something else and be just as comfortable and not worry about the matchup. So maybe I think they do. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Mhm.
Moving forward to kind of BCX's thing on everyone's mind. You're flying out tomorrow, Friday.
I gotta get up at
Tonight?
2 o'clock in the morning to get to the airport for 4, and I leave at 6, and I get there at about 4:30 Thursday.
So is it a thing with you where you like to go to lands with like 42 hours of no sleep, 72 hours of no sleep? Like, is that how the
That
double
was
time strategy?
That was once, and that wasn't exactly my fault. That was my Trophius's and my good friend Nearly Fatal, who had a bit of a car issue on the way to the airport, so we couldn't get into the hotel to take a nap. Um, I will have my hotel room ready to go. Not to mention, the tournament doesn't start Thursday, so I have all night to get a good night's sleep and not finish dead last in twos because of no sleep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, who's gonna win? Who's gonna take first place? 1v1, BCX.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think I'm gonna take first place.
Good
But
answer.
if I'm not gonna pick me, your strongest players right now, like Remy, looks damn near unbeatable. I mean, he's not only mastered dash and mastered all the weapons, but he's all the top players, and I play them all, are patient. They look for their spots. They do all that. Remy doesn't. Remy is explosive. He's in your face. He's if you're standing on the one side of the map, he's no more than one attack's length away from you. He's not sitting back and looking for his spots. He reads players so well. Um, Remy's like probably the number one player in the world right now, and I wouldn't put it past him to go and win the whole thing.
Nice. That kind of you were talking about patient and that sort of thing, and you made a tweet 6 or 7 days ago, and your tweet said, "PSA at BCX, by the way, I will do whatever it takes to win games."
Yes.
And whatever it takes. Can you
Well, I'm not
stretch
gonna
out on that a little bit?
I'm not going to play an XD game. That'll never happen. I've played in one in the Western qualifier, and I was the one that was trying to push the pace the whole time. That's not what I'm getting at. I will play a patient, more of a parry style, if the player that I'm playing against dictates that. I play based on my opponent. I don't play based on my play style. My play style every game changes. If I'm playing an incredibly aggressive player, the game's going to be fast. It's going to be 2 minutes. If I'm playing somebody who likes to kick back and wait and look for their spot, I'll kick back and wait, look for my spot too. I'm like Ditto. If you're going to be Articuno, I'm going to be Articuno, right? That's how I intend to play. But you won't see me standing on Twilight or wall hugging. Those aren't the things we're gonna do. I have enough respect for the game and every opponent I play against to not do that.
All right, so it's really good to hear. At an event like this, right? Part of it's the tournament, it's the big deal. There's a money prize, et cetera, et cetera. But also the event is entertainment, and I think there's that whole aspect to it too, right? We're streaming it. People are showing up. They're there for the hype games. They're the final sets. What responsibility, if there is any, lays on the players themselves to roll into that, build that, add that, establish that hype, that excitement?
I mean, we're going to be on the front page of Twitch when this happens, like most of our tournaments lately have been. I'm not saying sacrifice $100,000. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. I mean, we're talking about a good chunk of change. If you win both ones and twos, you're walking away with $45,000. That's a lot of money. But I am saying that we also want this tournament next year to not be $100,000. We want it to be $250,000. We want it to be $500,000. And the only way for that to happen is for more players to enter our player base. So while I'm not saying sacrifice all that money for all the top players out there, I am saying try and put on a bit of a show, make it look as entertaining as possible. And I don't know if it is possible, and that's maybe not indicative of the player, without taking too many risks. You could play hype weapons. Katars look really, really hype, even though you're not really taking risks. Gauntlets look really, really hype if you're not taking risks. Cannon looks hype when it comes out. When it's available, you don't have to take a bunch of risks to make that look cool. That's not indicative of the player, though. I don't think that's more of something that needs to be worked on BMG's side. As much as I don't want to throw that out there, I think they need to implement a system where aggression gives you bonuses. I play a little bit of Guilty Gear, and if you back up in Guilty Gear, if you stay backed up, you don't gain a damage bonus in Guilty Gear. Now, it's tougher to implement that in a platform fighter, but if there was a way to implement the aggressor, like to allow the aggressor to maybe have a stat boost if they're the ones constantly aggressing, that could make the game a lot more hype if you can eliminate somebody a lot quicker because you're the one that's hitting harder, right? So
I always wonder about comparisons like that, right? Comparing Brawl to any of the Smash games, Brawl to Guilty Gear to Street Fighter, all of those comparisons, I think they're valid, right? But I think there's also a little danger in going into the comparison game, right? Because
that's the thing. Yeah.
Brawlhalla is totally different in so many ways.
I know.
Once you've stepped past like that big field of like the genre is platform fighter, right?
Oh, it is. Like it's totally different. You can float a bunch more. There's so many other things that you can do that you can't even do in Smash, save for a few different characters. It is different from the other platform fighters. And I'm not saying to steal something directly from another game, because if you stole that directly from another game, that wouldn't work. Like if you stole that system from Guilty Gear, it just wouldn't work properly. But I'm saying look at something like that and see if you can't put it into the game and as an experimental type thing, see, let's say if you're, somebody who is aggressing, you get an extra stat in attack and speed, so you can chase them around and do more damage while you're doing that. And there'll be a little thing in the corner that says that you're the aggressor and you've got that stat bonus for however long you're aggressing, chasing the other player around. It's one idea I've thought about. I don't know if it's even viable. It'd be something that it would stop wall huggers, though, I think. Maybe not, because, people beat you up with 3 attack Lucian all the time. Doesn't matter how much attack you have. If you can't get the hits in, it doesn't matter, right? So,
gotta hit them.
Yeah, you gotta be able to hit them. So, I don't know.
Cool. So, pardon me. So you are entered in ones at BCX and the 2v2s, correct?
Yeah.
Who's your 2v2 partner?
You're a good friend of mine, straight to the point, Wilson.
STTP Wilson. All right.
We got a good team. It's been good. It's been a good couple of weeks of practice. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to even more than ones.
So here's what I love to look into this. How do you practice, right? How do you practice for ones by yourself? How do you practice with Wilson in twos? What's your methodology?
Ones, I have sparring partners that are better than me that I like to play against. Blood Diamond and I spar almost on a daily basis. And I've played everybody. I've played every single player in this community at the top level. Blood Diamond's the hardest player to beat. He is and maybe that's because I spar him every day, but every game is different with him. He's my dark horse to run away with BCX. Like, if it became an aggressive meta, he'd be 3,900 elo, and everybody else would be 2,500, right? So I spar him. I've been sparring Noel a lot lately. I've been sparring Wrenched a lot lately. And then if they're not on, I'm just, out pub stomping and ranked. So with Wilson, and we're doing twos, the only real way to do twos is just to play ranked. Like you can't always hope that both players are online to spar. So you just jump on and hope good teams happen to be online. and so you can measure up against them.
Do you do
Um,
anything to work on that team chemistry you have with Wilson? That I'm assuming you have that team chemistry.
we add like a excuse me, we add like a bot, and we just work on some combos. We were doing that a couple of days ago. We got a couple of really nice combos that are virtually, like, once you're in them, virtually impossible to get out of unless one of us flubs something. So we do work on that. We do a lot of call outs. I do admit that at the beginning, there was a lot of growing pains because we're both ones centric players, and we both think the same ways in twos.
Okay.
So we were always on top of each other, beating the hell out of each other rather than the other team. So it took a bit, and we've now ironed it out, and we're competing and at as high a level as any team going into twos right now. So
Do you think this is a team that could last for a while?
yeah, I mean, if things go well at BCX, then absolutely. I mean, there's we know Wilson is one of the best players in the world. He's what, a top 10 player. He's so good. We get along great. There's the maturity factor. We're both older, so it helps. That helps a lot.
Old man.
Yeah, I somehow made my team older than Shine. I didn't know that was going to be possible. Uh, but we also like similar games outside of BCX. We've been playing Town of Salem a little bit together. Or outside of BCX, outside of Brawlhalla. We've been playing Town of Salem a little bit together, and we talk about other things too. Like, it's not always Brawlhalla based. So that I think that part helps a lot. That you're not certain teams try and get together with as much talent as possible, and that can work, but they have nothing in common outside of the game. They they don't talk to each other outside of the game. All they do is play Brawlhalla and leave. That doesn't work. I mean, you got to be friends with your teammate, or else you're gonna end up hating the person in the end, right? So
Especially in twos where you have that team chemistry that's so functional and necessary.
mhm.
And you guys are communicating obviously when you're playing, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. We talk, and then we talk after. We do a lot more talking after the games. What can we have done differently? What can we do wrong? What we did well? Things like that. So yeah, we talk a lot.
So I want to move on. You made your debut as a Brawlhalla caster on Sunday at the Brawl League Trick or Beat NA
Yeah,
tournament. You casted with
yeah, I did.
Thought. Um,
Yeah.
is that the first time you've casted anything official?
Well, I've casted a couple of smaller community tournaments. Some of the Kosalix ran ones. He asked me to cast a couple of them. I even casted one with Keglinek. He was doing one for
Right.
Kosalix, and we casted together. And that's when I kind of knew, because after Keglinek said, "You're one of the best casters I've casted with. You should do this again." So and it's something that I've always wanted to get into, even in real sports. Like, I'm a huge hockey fan, right? I'm from Canada.
You're Canadian.
Yeah, you're from Boston. You got the Bruins.
Yeah,
Anyways,
whatever.
anyways, um, so when Antipop messaged me, he said we need a caster, and I'm like, okay, well, this is an actual big time tournament. There could be a couple hundred people. Maybe I should try and cast this and see how I do. And I mean, the reception seemed decent, so
Yeah, I mean, I was there. I was streaming. I was on behind the scenes, and it seemed like people were pretty positive feeling about it.
mhm.
Um, I have heard some people say you read chat and you read some things around the internet. I'm not a pro player, so I can't know. But people say as a pro player, sometimes it can be very boring to cast the
Mhm.
game.
Mhm.
Did you feel any of that kind of
No,
feeling?
not at all. Especially the matches I got to watch. Like when I was watching, just as I jumped in, Phazon and Excalibran were playing, and that was a hype set. Like, that was really cool. Like, some of the things both of the players were doing was really cool. I think that comes with the fact that I'm also still newer to the game, so for me, I enjoy watching, playing, reading, breathing it right now, right? So
Right.
who knows if that changes with time, but I really enjoyed my time casting, and especially when you have really hype matches.
They were pretty fun. They were, I mean, the NA,
Mm-hmm.
some of the NA sets were great.
Mm-hmm.
Really pretty fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that Blood Diamond has been a player you play with a lot, right? You
Yeah.
guys are pretty close.
Yeah.
Who are the other players or even just community figures who have influenced you and your playing?
I mean, as far as how I play, nobody has really influenced me. If you ask anybody, I do just the strangest, sometimes stupid reads, suboptimal reads that happen to work just because they continue to work for me. I do like to watch players like Remy, for example. He's a fantastic player to watch. I want to be more aggressive than passive. Um, Maybe not passive's the word. I want to be more aggressive than calculated. I want to go in. I want to be able to go into games. Not like waiting. I want to dictate the pace of the game. Right? Um, Having said that, I watch a ton of Noel, play a lot of Noel. I've watched a ton of Hyper Hero, played a lot of Hyper Hero. I think I take a lot of little things from all the players I play a lot of. Um, so I don't know if I really look up to any one player specifically, but I do steal a bunch of stuff from every player that I play against.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So BCX is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Then go to BCX. You're gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna win.
Yeah.
Everything,
Yep.
including all the stuff that's not Brawlhalla, which there's nothing because it's BCX. What happens after you get back from BCX, good or bad, right? You had this caffeine fueled, maybe a little alcohol, like 3 or 4 days of just nonstop Brawlhalla community.
Mm-hmm.
What happens after that? What happens next?
I go back to work Tuesday. I didn't give myself a buffer day, so I'm up 5:30 in the morning Tuesday morning, and we go back to normal. It's the off season after BCX, right? There's no tournaments for 2 months, December up until most of the way through January, right?
Right.
So a lot less practice, a lot more spending time with my significant other, with my girlfriend. Focus back on work. It just goes back to normal with a little bit less Brawlhalla, basically, win or lose. Win, I probably fly right home, take the next week off work, and jump on a plane and go somewhere for a little bit.
That's what you would spend your fat stacks on?
Well, not all of it. I mean, if I were to win, I would put a good chunk of it aside as a down payment for a place.
Okay.
That's actually what would happen. Of course, I would take a little bit out of it to enjoy. So I would go to, I don't know, somewhere nice in the Caribbean or something like that.
I just want to point out that that's the most adult thing you could have been. I'm gonna win a bunch of money. I'm gonna put a down payment on a house or like a condo or an apartment.
Yeah,
like, stability.
I know. Well, I'm not young anymore. Live on my own. I got bills to pay. I got mouths to feed. So
yeah. Oh man. No, that's fantastic. I actually really love that answer.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of Brawlhalla, right? So you have work, you have a social. Like, what are the things you do for fun, right?
Outside of Brawlhalla, I'm a big sports fanatic. So it's not just esports. I'm huge into sports. Vancouver Canucks, live and breathe them. The Vancouver Whitecaps are a soccer team that's here that are in the playoffs right now. Really big into those. I'm going to be watching the Game 7 of the World Series at some point here. I'm big into cars as well. I love cars. Love cars. My first car was an 84 5-liter Mustang. It was done out. It was fast. It was stupid to have at 17 years old, but it was really cool. I've always had a car that I've really enjoyed driving around in. I like to work on my cars. I like to I like to drive them. I took my I had a Fiesta ST, which if you don't know what that is, it's
I don't.
A Ford Fiesta, but it was completely done out from the factory with a turbocharger, everything. It's a 6-speed, really quick little car.
Did you say Fiesta ST?
Yeah, ST.
What year was
Yeah,
it?
mine was a 15, and it was bright green.
2015?
2015 Fiesta ST in envy green.
Oh,
Yeah.
here we go. We're actually going to take a look at that because, we have the power. We might as well.
We have these little machines that we can Google now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I my first car that I drove was a 1989 Toyota Tercel.
Nice.
I was taking it to the shop and the engine blew, a gasket blew, and some things melted. And that was the end of that car. Nice.
That's the end of that. Nice. Yeah, my Fiesta, I loved that car. I ended up getting out of my lease because things got a little tough.
Ooh.
So I didn't want to pay for it anymore. It was expensive. Now things are good again, but I don't think I will do that again, at least for a little while. So miss that car though. I took it down to the track a couple times, so it was fun.
Goodness.
Love cars, love sports, and anything else I like to do for fun.
Outside of video games.
Yeah, outside of video games. Yeah, it's cars, sports, and I haven't gone in a while, but I used to do a lot of beer league volleyball as well. So I was a volleyball player all through high school and a basketball player. But
Nice.
I was the shortest basketball player on the court. But I used to do a lot of beer league volleyball that I haven't gotten around to lately. But those are the big things I like to do. I'm really good at sleeping and eating as well.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that sleeping and eating can be considered hobbies.
Eating can definitely be considered a hobby.
Eating. Okay. Okay. But like sleeping? I feel like this.
Sleeping. I mean, if you're doing cool things in your dreams, I guess sleeping can be considered a hobby.
All right, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. So, chat, if you guys have any questions for Double Dime, let us know. Let me know. I'll pull a couple ones out from the chat and
Sure.
we'll ask. I think that could be
Sure.
fun.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for people to add those questions in, though, if someone new came to Brawlhalla and you had to give them like your top 3 tips for the game, what would you do them? What would you give them?
Top 3 tips. If you want to get good at the game quickly, which is something that I wanted to do, pick something that's incredibly exploitable and exploit it till you get to the top of the game.
Right.
And then play all the best players to get better. So pick something that's exploitable. Pick something that you like too. It's got to be something that's exploitable and that you like. And don't get frustrated. Those are the big 3 things. I mean, people go into brand new video games hoping that they're naturals at it, and nobody's going to be a natural at every game right away. I know a lot of players, friends of mine who have jumped in, played 2 games, got super frustrated, and never played it again. It's a mindset. You got to go into it with a mindset. Get frustrated once you get good at the game, but don't get frustrated while you're bad at the game, basically.
Yeah,
because you're only going to get better.
That makes sense. That makes sense a lot to me. I've found, and maybe you found a similar thing, that the mentality, especially in a fighting game like Brawlhalla, is like, it's like 50% of the fight is just keeping a good, healthy mindset.
Well, yeah, you got to keep a decent mindset. And the other thing is stay positive. I mean, our community is younger as far as esports go. Is that because this game can run on virtually any computer and it's free? That's probably why.
Yeah.
But I do implore some of our younger players to realize that there is another person on the other side of the screen. Oh. And I'm not going to name any names, but there is a few players out there that just do some pretty terrible stuff to people, and that's one thing that you just can't.
Not cool.
Just can't do it. It's not cool.
Yeah.
There is somebody else on the other side of the screen. And, for me, for example, I'm super level-headed. I don't care. Most of the time, I just laugh it off. But there could be somebody on the other side that you're hitting a a nerve basically, and you could make their day. When somebody's jumping on a video game to have fun, you could ruin their fun as well as their day with something that you could say or do, right? So
I've definitely been there before.
mm-hmm.
All right, so I actually have some questions here in chat, which I like.
Sure.
Well, let's see.
Shoot, fire away, chat.
Parallel is asking, Double Dime, can you money match him in Connect 4 at BCX?
I'm already money matching Wrenched in Connect 4 at BCX. I don't have this kind of money, Parallel.
Okay, there you go, Parallel. There's your answer. Our Brands is asking, hey, Double Dad, will you stay at the Sheraton?
I am staying at the hotel that is attached to the venue. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but that's where I'm staying. Keep in mind, I didn't get to plan where I got to stay. So
Right.
Yeah.
The whole sponsor, Rec Room eSports thing.
No more the whole LDZ gate situation.
Oh, forgot about that already. It's been like 3 weeks, but I'm glad they got you out to BCX.
Yeah.
That was the right choice.
Yes.
That was definitely the right choice.
To touch on that a little bit, I'm glad that LDZ is still going. It would have been pretty empty going to the World Championships without the World Champion. It would have sucked. That would have been pretty dumb. To not have the World Champion the motto is you gotta beat the man to be the man, right? And if he's not there, how are you the man?
There you go.
So I'm glad he's gonna be there. I'm happy that they made the right decision. Of course, I'm also happy that they're sending me as well. But I am happy that LDZ is going to be there.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I'm with you there 100%. Unique is asking, after playing your Azoth a few times and having an Azoth of his own, what personally would you say is the hardest counter to his character?
To Azoth?
Yeah.
Right now, not a lot, because both Axe and Bow are really, really good. Man, the more I think about it, there isn't really something that's super hard carries. He's not fast, so fast characters can like a Hattori, for example, or something, can really mess you up. I've ran into some issues against Artemis. Scythe and Lance are both really good, and her speed makes it tough to stay on top of her. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So I don't know if it's so much a weapon counter, more of a stat counter than anything. So anybody who's really fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Fast Legends, Unique.
Fast and spacey Legends.
Wrenched wants to know if you're excited to watch Ordinal Scale at BCX.
I am so excited. We're doing that tomorrow. We're going to have a little viewing party in Wrenched's room.
Hey, I'll let you know. I watched it 2 nights ago. It's really good.
Is it any good? Good.
I mean, it's the show. So like, if you like the show, you'll love it. If you hated the show,
you're not gonna like it.
You're not gonna like it. Same thing as everything. But it was pretty much everything I wanted. I was like, I'm happy with this.
I can't wait to see Kirito again.
Yo,
and Asuna.
Cella W is asking, hey, Double Dude, why is your name Double Dime?
Honestly, no idea. I made the name in like grade 5. This name has been with me for almost more than just about 20 years now. Not quite.
Jeez,
let's say 16 years, 17 years. It's been with me for a long time, and I like the alliteration. That's why.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's a long digital trail, though, man. If you search Double Dime, I mean, don't search Double Dime. You'll find dark secrets.
You'll find me on Neopets and Habbo Hotel, probably.
Oh, nice. Neopets was the jam, dude.
Yeah.
Here's a sports one. So this is going to go right over my head, but Bevar's asking, why do you like the Vancouver Canucks and not the clearly superior team, but not this season, the Montreal Canadiens?
First of all, I live in Vancouver. So that kind of, that's one thing. Not to mention, nobody likes Montreal or Toronto in Canada. I like Montreal a little bit less, or a little bit more than Toronto, but nobody likes those two teams when it comes to hockey. They've been there. They've been around for 100 years, and both teams are like, oh yeah, we have so many Stanley Cups. Come on, you guys won a good chunk of your Stanley Cups when there was only 6 teams in the NHL. Like, let's be real.
Oh my goodness.
Montreal's won a lot of cups, but in some situations, there was only 6 teams in the NHL. So take a step back. And also realize that Vancouver right now is 6-3-2, and Montreal is like 3-8-4 or something dumb like that. So clearly superior team right now is the Vancouver.
I think you got your answer served on a plate to you, Badvar. A quick question here. Pugsy was asking, what's your favorite soda?
I'm a root beer guy and a Dr. Pepper. One or the other. It's about 50-50.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, folks, I think we might be wrapping it up here. Double Dime.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for for being our first interviewee on Pop Talks, coming out here to the show.
No, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be the first interviewee. That's pretty cool. You guys, if you guys already haven't, which I'm sure most of you have, go follow our friend Toast on Twitter, follow his Twitch channel, follow all that stuff, guys. It's all down below.
At the same time, go follow Double Dime on Twitter. It's Double Dime. You can see it right below his picture. I can't point to it because I'm not him. But if you point straight down, you'll be pointing. Yeah,
you're gonna see right straight down below there. I'm doing a giveaway at 500 followers. I'll be giving away a $50 Steam card. So once we get there, $50 Steam card.
$50, friends.
That's a lot of Canadian. Keep in mind. So if you win it in America, so you're only getting about $38. It's
like 10 cents.
Like that. About the 20 cents.
Like 40 pennies.
Yeah, 40 pennies. Bacon, by the way. Going to MIT. What are we going to name Double Dime? What's his nickname? 40 pennies. Good job. You're going to MIT, Bacon. Congratulations. Can't wait to see him at BCX.
Oh, man. Fantastic. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in to the first episode of Pop Talks. That's a pun if you figure it out. As extra bonus points for you. It's breakfast themed, just like everything else I do in my life. And I think with that, folks, we're gonna sign off. We're gonna say goodbye.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you, Toast, for having me. This was awesome.
My pleasure. Stay crispy, everyone.